What's up, y'all? It's your boy Marcus Bullock. If you don't know, I'm the CEO and founder of Flick Shop. We built the technology that allows our family members to stay connected to their incarcerated loved ones. Our users are able to take a picture, add some quick text, press send, and for 99 cents, we print that picture and text on a full tangible postcard, and we ship it to any person in any cell anywhere in the country. I'm super excited about today's episode of Marcus Asks. I have the infamous attorney Tammy Allison with us tonight. She's going to be talking all about commutation versus pardon. I know I have questions about commutations. What is the difference between a commutation and a pardon? We're going to be talking about her journey as an attorney and how she wants to be able to help get people free out of prison. And I think that the biggest part about what we're going to learn tonight is that we're going to have an opportunity to really be able to dig deep into ways and strategies that you can leverage if your loved one is eligible for a commutation or a pardon. So I'm super excited for today's episode of Marcus Asks. Tammy is going to join us in a quick second. As you guys know, I don't like to introduce our guests. I like to allow them the opportunity to be able to introduce themselves. So as soon as Tammy jumps on, she'll jump straight in and she'll be able to introduce herself and tell a little bit about her journey, not only to helping to get people out of these cells and leveraging the process of either a commutation or a pardon, but also about her journey into being an attorney. I think it's a very important conversation for our community to be able to have. Again, like I said, I have no idea about this topic. I did 8 years in prison. I didn't apply for a commutation. Sometimes I do have questions of whether or not I'm eligible for a pardon or not. And having the opportunity to access an attorney, I think, is critical, especially one that works specifically on this kind of topic. So if you have any of your loved ones that are incarcerated that are working on trying to figure out whether or not they may even be eligible for a commutation or a pardon, if they want to be able to try to figure out what it is, that the steps they need to go through in order to be able to apply for a commutation or pardon, tonight's the night where you're going to learn a little bit about that. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let you guys vibe with me a little bit. Again, thank you guys so much for joining, all of you guys that are joining it. If you just now joined us, I'm Marcus Bullock. I'm the CEO and founder of Flick Shop. I'm super, super excited to have attorney Tammy Allison on. And as soon as now, we're going to jump straight into the conversation of commutation versus pardon.
Hey.
Oh, I got the homie.
Hi.
What's up?
Oh, is it given what it was supposed to have gave?
Hey, make sure it's right. Get it right.
Wait a minute.
I see you.
Do you see the On Your Passion?
Look at the back wall. If
Can
you
y'all
ain't
see
paying attention to nothing
you can't
else.
see the On Your Passion?
On Your Passion. Give me some history of the wall. Before you even get to the point where you introduce yourself, give me some history of the back wall. You gotta tell me.
Up and give y'all a little tour.
Give me a tour.
I
would love to be able to have
somebody would call.
What's up, Teddy? Come on, give us a tour, please. Tell them. Tell them leave alone. Give us a tour.
First of all, do I need a little? we got.
Nah, you don't need no filter. Oh my goodness. This is crazy. I don't know what she over there doing. Tammy probably over there trying to figure out how to give you guys a tour of her office. Is hilarious. I'm telling you, Tammy is so cool. She's so funny. It looks like you going out for a quick second, Tammy. I'm excited. All right, so we dropped Tammy for a minute. I'm sure she's going to be back. You guys hold on for just a quick second. I'm excited to jump into this conversation about commutation versus pardon with the homie attorney Allison. Tammy Allison. Yo, what's dope is as soon as she hops on, she jumps straight on. You can see her back wall where you see all of her amazing accomplishments, her degrees, all her certificates and plaques to show that she's so freaking accomplished. I can't believe that we're always so.
It's your fault. You the one that told me to get up. You know, I have my thing all done, and then I press something. You know, I'm.
Uh-oh. My bad.
How y'all doing?
What's going on? How are you doing this evening?
I am good. You know, I was real early. I was like an hour early.
Oh, well, I'm grateful that you were early.
You know, so yes. So I'm
Thank you so much
Tammy Allison, everyone, and thank you for having me, Marcus.
I'm super excited. Come on, we know we couldn't wait for that conversation. For you guys that don't know, Tammy and I we talked before, and I'm like, yo, we were talking about something with a specific client she was working at. Then I was talking about a friend of mine that may have been eligible for some stuff. I'm like, yo, you gotta come on and do an episode of Marcus Asks with me, because the people want to know. Folks have questions about commutations, and they got questions about pardons, and I want to be able to jump straight in and ask you some of them. So, but before I get in real deep, give us a little bit of background of who you are and how you got to this kind of work.
Well, sure. Okay, so I'm gonna give you like a little tour of the Own Your Passion wall. So, Own Your Passion is pretty much taking all of the shenanigans and trauma that we've all been through in our lives, turning that into, purpose. And that purpose, as we know, fuels passion. But then I also talk a lot about monetizing that passion. And monetizing the passion looks like a lot of different things. Where I grew up on the southwest side of Houston, Texas, monetizing that passion was, D-boys. But there's a legal way to own a business with a business entity, you know what I mean? So for me, being around that crew between 95 and 2005 on the southwest side of Houston, Texas, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. For me, my hustle was school to pay my rent and stuff. So it was like, went to U of H, and then I was like, oh, I got to graduate. I don't got no money, so let me go to school. So I went to chiropractic school for a year before going to law school, and the rest is just a bunch of federal district court admissions and awards. But I actually, and I'll flip it back around. Okay, so I actually, I stopped hanging up my degrees and credentials in my office when I was at the Department of Justice because I didn't. It doesn't matter how many degrees. You can't hear me?
No, you're good, You're back. You're good.
Okay. I realized that it doesn't matter how many degrees you have. It doesn't matter, all the credentials. Like, I'm still a Black woman at the end of the day. All I see is I'm Black, you know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter. So I always tell, like, the clients or prospective clients that come to me that, like, I have a C. My C is credentials, and they have a C. Their C is, like, a conviction. But at the end of the day, like, we're both people. Their C, their conviction, does not define them. The same way that my C, the credentials, does not define me. I don't code switch. I've always been me, and I've been blessed to have mentors at the Department of Justice that just focused on expanding and pushing me to have the best and brightest legal mind possible, which is why I can say I'm the best lawyer alive, because I know when to ask questions when it's necessary. And I also literally have been trained by the best.
Y'all heard it here first. The best lawyer alive. That's right. Y'all heard it. That's right. I love it. So we folks want to know in very clear terms. Can you really tell us? I mean, like we're here, like, because the folks want to know. Very clear terms. What is the difference between clemency, commutation, and a pardon?
All right. So the difference is that a pardon and a commutation are a form of clemency. So the proper terminology is federal executive clemency. Federal whenever we're dealing with an individual with a federal conviction, meaning we all saw Power, AUSA. The AUSA done got you hemmed up, and there is a charge from the U.S. government against an individual. That's how you know that it's a federal conviction. If it's a conviction from the state, are you there? That's going to be the state versus so-and-so. Typically, it's like a
I'm here.
DA.
Yeah.
Okay. Typically, there's like a DA. So that's how you know when it's a state conviction. So state convictions, clemency, right? That's the correct terminology, clemency. Both forms of clemency, if there's a state conviction, it's petitioned to the governor of that state or to that state's parole and pardon board. Each jurisdiction, meaning each state, does it differently. I am an expert in federal executive clemency because I worked at the United States Department of Justice, Office of the Pardon Attorney, where I personally, as a senior attorney, made recommendations for federal executive clemency under Presidents Bush, Obama, and Trump. Now, people just say pardons, but again, the word is clemency. And pardon and commutation are different. So if there's an individual that is currently incarcerated, so they are at the Federal Bureau of Prisons, they would be seeking.
Because this is not a state. If you're in a state facility, this has nothing to do with you. This is nothing for state facility, people in state facility. This is just for federal people in federal facilities.
Yes, federal is when they are at the Federal Bureau of Prisons. And as we know, there's a whole bunch of different institutions and different levels. There's FCIs, FCCs, all of that. But let's not get too deep and too technical because we're going to, Tammy,
yeah,
what
they're
I
in
do,
the
I try to
feds.
keep
They're in the feds.
Yeah, they in feds, you know what I'm talking about? I try to keep it really entertaining and like no legalese so that everybody can understand and digest it, right? So it's like you say the word clemency and then there's pardon and commutation. If you're in the feds, currently in the feds, you're eligible for a commutation. A commutation is you can get out of prison before your projected release date and have the fine or restitution reduced or all the way removed, right? That's commutation. Commutation applies to a currently incarcerated individual. Now, a pardon is someone who is formerly incarcerated. A formerly incarcerated individual petitions for a pardon. If it's a federal conviction, it is a presidential pardon. Now, the eligibility requirements are that they apply 5 years. How many years? How many years? There we go, 5. I need to see 5 in comments. How many years are you eligible? 5. 5 years after the release from federal imprisonment, an individual that is formerly incarcerated is eligible to apply for a pardon. Now, hold up. Some people have a conviction and they didn't get sentenced to any term of imprisonment, right? Okay. So then which one is it that they apply for? Commutation or pardon? It's going to be a pardon. 5 years after the date of sentencing, an individual that has a conviction, but maybe the sentencing judge sentenced them to probation or supervised release with fine or restitution, but they never actually served any term of imprisonment. That individual is eligible to apply for a pardon 5 years after the date of sentencing. Now that 5 years, there is a waiver, but it's extremely rare for anyone to get granted the waiver. There would have to be like some type of super duper out of space, sipping on lean type of extraordinary like reason why the grant for a waiver is done. In my experience, I really don't even remember out of the 5.5 physical years in that office, I don't remember any waivers. But it's really, really difficult. But let's just talk about clemency in general just being difficult, right?
I mean, word, like, what's the likelihood? Like, talk about percentages of success on this, right? And like manage my expectations, right? Like, how can I, what should I do? Like, my family member is telling me like, yo, I should be eligible for a commutation. So now I even know if you still locked up and you calling me, don't use the term pardon anymore. You're not eligible for a pardon, right? No. So now the only time you should be using this kind of language if you're eligible for a commutation. Secondly, if you calling me, you in the States, you're not eligible for a commutation, not under the way that Tammy is describing right now. And we could talk about the state versus Fed, but if you're calling me from the Feds and you want to know if if I want to know if my loved one is eligible for a commutation, how do I know if they're even eligible?
So the first thing is, you know, I'm the first private for-profit law firm dealing with federal executive clemencies ever. I think I'm the third expert ever to have a firm dedicated to federal executive clemency, meaning having actually worked at the Office of the Pardon Attorney and now having a practice in the private sector. The other two are old and white. One's a man, one's a woman. I think she got fired from being a pardon attorney, but she's like affiliated with like a nonprofit, and then the man, he's like affiliated with a firm. For me, I'm the only and first attorney that's an expert in federal executive clemency that has a private law firm that also takes in consideration the need for criminal justice reform. I see I've been a little influential over my past 9 months of having this practice where it's a lot of fake woke clemency people, but I caution people to look at their LinkedIn page and their resume, who you want to listen to, because a lot of your faves that are out here hashtagging and fist up, they've all been in my inbox, okay? And you can't learn what took 12 years of mentorship and all of these degrees in 12 minutes, okay? So the first thing somebody can do is visit my website, which is thepardonattorney.com, thepardonattorney.com. On the website, there's pardon on the landing page. You click pardon. When you click pardon, you're going to have some information that's just general, including my definition that I schooled Pamela Brown and Ron Brownstein on CNN. Okay, I put that clip right there. That's the definition. You should see their faces. Yeah, I gotta correct y'all. I don't care. I'm on live TV on CNN. I'm gonna tell you the correct terminology is clemency, not pardon. You're talking about pardon for somebody that's incarcerated. No, let's get it right, okay? So that's the first thing you're gonna see. You're gonna see some general information. Then somebody's gonna be like, well, I don't know exactly what you just said, right? Which one is it? So I put on the website pardon, commutation, and state. If you click on which one, it doesn't even matter. If you don't know, just click one. And I recently uploaded a free discovery pre-recorded consultation video where they can watch it and get a breakdown of what a pardon is, what a commutation is, what a state conviction is, as well as a free clemency checklist that's on the website. And it breaks down in each one what the criteria is, just in general, right? So that when people are, calling my front staff and they're like, I gotta pay a consultation fee. Yes, I'm a lawyer. This is a for-profit law firm. What are you talking about? But I'm gonna give you this free information right here, okay? Because I see that there's a lot of fake woke people out here that are attempting to selfishly monetize clemency. I understand that the prison system is $1 billion industry, but I didn't sacrifice everything by quitting DOJ after 12 years to help people, to have people continue to perpetuate the misconceptions of clemency. I need people that are not affiliated with celebrities, that are not affiliated with politicians, to know that clemency is attainable for them. It doesn't matter if they're down and out and, feeling like they can't do it no more. They need to know that it's possible, So I like to press the proper terminology and also let people know that, yes, the likelihood of having a petition for clemency granted, it depends. Anyone that talks about wins or losses, they clearly are not a real clemency attorney, because there are no wins or losses in clemency. Anyone that's shouting, I got this many people free, that's a lie, because clemency is a non-adversarial process. The attorneys in that office are looking for petitions to favorably recommend to the president. That was my whole job. But the problem is underrepresented groups don't have this basic information. So what I saw was the bias that we see throughout the entire criminal justice system, right? If there's somebody that looks like us, right, Marcus? They have an indictment. They done got hemmed up. Most likely they're going to have a public defender and not a private attorney, because they just can't afford it, statistically speaking. That public defender, most likely, it's not going to get them a not guilty verdict. You're going to have a conviction. is that person in an underrepresented group going to be able to afford an appeal? Probably not. Are they going to be able to afford any other post-conviction motions? Probably not. Are they going to be able to afford any post-sentencing motions? Probably not. So what I saw a lot of times was them finding out about pardons and using that petition to voice all of their grievances. The man is against me. This person did that. I ain't do it. But that's dead on arrival, bro. The word clemency means forgiveness. The first thing you got to do is accept responsibility. That's why I say clemency through ownership. The second you're not accepting responsibility, that mug is denied. Like, that don't even get to the attorney. The paralegals scan that shit in and be like, nah. So I keep saying clemency through ownership so people understand it's literal and figurative. You're asking for forgiveness. So you have to be like, I'm sorry, and I'm worthy of this forgiveness because I've demonstrated all this good stuff that I've done after I made that mistake. So the ownership I talk about is if an individual is incarcerated, the one that's eligible for commutation, right? What are you doing? The Federal Bureau of Prisons has a whole lot of programs. You can get your GED, you can learn how to weld, shoot, you can become a barber, you can be the town driver, like show that the wardens and the other incarcerated individuals have respect for you, get them certificates, stack them up, rack them up. That's ownership, okay? Stack it up, because then whenever you had that petition, you can be like, I'm sorry, this is all the stuff I did to atone for my offense conduct. I done did this. I took some parenting classes. I took a community college class while I was in here for commutation. There can be ownership while an individual is incarcerated, right? And then also that figurative ownership of accept responsibility for the offense conduct. Then when we talk about a pardon, a formerly incarcerated individual, they can also show that they've atoned for the offense conduct. What have you done since you've been released from imprisonment? I know it's hard to get a job, but what have you done? What efforts have you made to try to get a job? Did you try to get any education? Did you try to run a business? Have you, like, show ownership? I like to focus on business ownership for formerly incarcerated individuals because there's nothing that precludes a formerly incarcerated individual from establishing a business entity and having that business entity own a federal trademark, the copyrights, and any other of the intellectual property, because that's going to show stability in making money, stability in credit, stability in where they live. Probably they're not going to be hemmed up in any more court stuff. So that's going to increase the chances of a favorable recommendation for clemency. Nobody can guarantee that anybody's going to get clemency. What I tell the clients that come to me, what I'm guaranteeing to you is that you have an expert, the only expert, that understands it in the terms of criminal justice and the need for reform, that's going to prepare the absolute best petition for clemency possible to increase the chances of a favorable recommendation. Because the only person that can grant or deny clemency is the President of the United States, and that is pursuant to the United States Constitution, and that is Article 2, Section 2, Clause 1 of the United States Constitution, that gives the President of the United States sole executive clemency power. So, should I keep going? I feel like I'm talking too much.
Yeah, well, now we're out of time now, right? And so I wanted, but I had a couple of questions I definitely want to get to. I won't be able to get to them all now. But what I would love to do, if I can get you in like a 60 seconds to be able to help me understand, what are the first steps that someone who's incarcerated who wants to be considered for commutation, they should take?
Clemency through ownership. The hashtag that I say, the first
Well,
step
let's talk about
is,
like real logistical stuff, right? Like, because I know that sounds great, but I'm sitting in a cell. I think I need to write somebody or file something. No,
what they need to do is accept responsibility for the offense conduct. Don't make excuses. Own it. If something happened
that are just sitting, there's some people sitting in the cell right now that have accepted ownership, but they not just opening up a cell door and say, "Oh, I heard through the rec yard that you accepted ownership.
Yeah,
you're eligible for commutation now." They have to do something.
Yes. So the first thing they should do, Okay, the first thing they should do, get with their case manager. You know, every federal institution has a case manager, and that case manager is pretty much the person that checks up on the person that's incarcerated. Ask the case manager what types of programs are available to them. They need to identify things that they're interested in. Even if it's something that they think they're not interested in, if it's available, do it. Everybody that's incarcerated knows the number one thing to get after is RDAP. So if you have not done RDAP, get your GED, because getting a GED is what makes an individual that's currently incarcerated eligible for RDAP. RDAP is like the Residential Drug and Abuse Prevention Program thing. And that's like the highest thing that you can do while you're incarcerated, whether you are incarcerated for a drug conviction or not. Do RDAP, okay? So get with the case manager and just start stacking up some paperwork and start making a positive reputation for yourself, and make sure that when the petition is ready to be submitted, that there is acceptance of responsibility.
I love it. So what I think I heard was get with your case manager, but I think that I heard there was another step after that, that there's a petition that needs to be submitted of some sorts.
Yes, so there is a petition for both commutation and a pardon. So make sure that you pull the petition. It's on the U.S. Department of Justice's website, and it is on the Office of the Pardon Attorney's website, and you can pull the petition. It's called something else. It's like pardon after completion of sentence. That's pardon. And then the other one is for the commutations. You can pull that, and it's going to be asking a lot of questions. And just like any other area of law, yes, an individual does not need an attorney to file a petition for clemency, the same way you don't need an attorney to file for a trademark. But the likelihood of success of that trademark actually getting registered is probably higher if you have an attorney, right? So I say the same thing with the petition.
This is the reason why. So this is the reason why. So the steps are like, yo, look, you gotta wear this one. Now that you understand and you wearing it, now you have to like get with your case manager, go through RDAP, and
you don't have to.
Well, that's a recommendation. That's your recommendation.
My recommendation is to do as many things as you can to show
program.
Yeah.
So now that you're programming, then you can file for the petition for commutation. Now, here's the thing, guys. This is what I want you to catch, and this was why I wanted Attorney Allison to walk us through this. Right here are the very, very clear steps that you have to take in order to be able to do it. Now, I think that the interesting thing is that most of us, we lose ourselves in the process of doing the things. We know what we need to do, and we're educating you on the steps that you need to take in order to be able to make this happen. So this is the closest steps, the close things you can do to build success. But in order to be able to give you the higher likelihood of success as you go through this process, you probably want to work with someone who's done this successfully over and over again, so that they can not only help walk you through each one of those steps, they'll probably assist you with filing all of the right and correct paperwork, but they'll also work with you during the post-submission process to help educate you on what your expectations should be, and then where we are throughout the process. Absolutely. Is that what I'm hearing?
Marcus, you hit the nail on the head. Absolutely. And, be careful who you select, okay? Because in the past 9 months, it went from me being the only one to apparently there's other people doing it. It's like, bro, you ain't ever seen a petition in your life, and you definitely never saw the inside of the Department of Justice. I actually was evaluating those petitions. I don't have to talk about wins or losses. It's hundreds, it's like, what? It's public record, So it's like, just be careful and look at the resume of the person that is assisting you, because you don't want to spend money and not have the highest likelihood of success. Yeah. Nobody can guarantee it, but I know exactly what they're looking for. I know the documents to gather, so just review the videos on the website to at least understand if you're eligible or not. And state convictions there's a lot more that they can do. I know we're running short on time, but I think it's important for people to understand that the reason why I focus specifically on federal convictions is because in the federal system right now, ATF cut off funding. Well, Congress cut off funding to ATF in the early 90s. And what that did was where ATF used to restore firearms rights for formerly incarcerated individuals, Congress cut funding off. So the only way to legally possess a firearm after a federal conviction is through a presidential pardon. And also, Congress stopped with paroles in the federal system. The early 80s, if there's a conviction after the early 80s, there's no such thing as parole. And with the federal conviction, there essentially is no such thing as expungement. So a lot of people rely heavily on clemency, but they don't even understand the basic terminology. And we got fake woke people out here talking about stuff, giving them the wrong information and the wrong levels of expectation.
Thank you so much for helping to educate our community, and definitely specifically me, right? Like educating me and helping me understand what the process are and what even the eligibility requirements are for to be able to even have access to some of the things that I talk about in conversation. We use these terms loosely, like, oh, I'm about to apply for a pardon, or not like I won't, right? But like, yeah, I want my folks to get a pardon. You know, maybe if I could talk to my lawyers and like you say, a lot of our attorneys like don't have access, don't have a lot of background in working inside this space, and so I'm grateful for you as the expert to come in here and really help educate us. Shout out to you. I'll give you 30 seconds to be able to give us our last words, and make sure you let us know where we can connect with you one more time if we have any additional questions, and then lastly, like if you want to talk to us specifically about what some of the challenges you've seen others have. I know I'm asking you to do a lot in a minute or so, but I really want to be able to say, hey, look, this is real people that know this stuff, right? And you're a valuable member of our community. I'm grateful to have you. I need to be able to allow you the opportunity to get this to our folks.
Thank you. Hey, this is the last thing I want to say, like super quick. 2011, one of the only studies that ever has been done related to clemency was done by ProPublica that showed that white people are 4 times more likely to receive clemency than non-white people. Okay, that's why I focus so much on that ownership aspect, and I just use that word literally and figuratively to combat against the inherent bias of the policies and the procedures that we see throughout the entire criminal justice system. Those petitions for clemency have not been changed. When we talk about the types of questions that are being asked on other types of federal forms, from real estate to financial to whatever, those questions are still being asked in clemency. So that's why I talk so heavily about ownership, to combat against that inherent bias, to increase the chances of a favorable recommendation. And hopefully we can start seeing more people that look like us getting granted clemency until there's legislative change.
I love this. Thank you again for having us. Thank you all for joining us for another special edition of Marcus As. Tammy, you're the best.
And y'all catch me on Court TV at 6 p.m. Wait, yeah, 6 Central. 6 Central, 7 Eastern.
How do we, is the link to, how can we watch it online? Is the link in your bio?
Yeah, so Court TV is always live. I'm so bad with posting my Court TV appearances, but
just real quick, throw the link to the appearance in the bio real fast.
Okay,
we got folks that are watching right now that want to check you out.
Okay, look,
please.
If you go to my website, there's going to be a thing that says on TV, and then on TV will show like every single TV appearance I've done. And then it'll also link to my YouTube page, where after my appearances, I upload the episodes up to my YouTube page, which is also called The Pardon Attorney. Court TV is live, so that's at 6. Right.
Okay, cool. And we can find the majority of it in the link that's in the comments.
Yes, because if you click on any one of the other Court TV appearances, it'll go to the Court TV website, and then it'll show the show that I'm on, which is at 7 Eastern, 6 Central.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Marcus. You're the best.
Thank you so much. I'll see you guys later. You guys have a great weekend. I love you all. Thank you for joining us for another edition of Marcus As.